Tonight, mob, we're not guessing. We're not interpreting any type of tone. We're not putting words in anybody's mouth. We're looking at what was actually said directly.
Got it, Teddy. I'm locked in and ready. When you want me to come in, just bring me in.
This is fair use for commentary and criticism. Fair use for commentary and criticism. Because this is the statement that was made publicly. I will die, before I pay a liar and a scammer a dime. Now, let's put that into context, because just before that, motions were filed in court asking for relief from judgment, asking to alter or amend the judgment. And the court reviewed those motions and denied them. That's ECF 81. So at the district court level, the door is closed. And what we're seeing now is not a filing. It's not a legal argument. It's a response. Statements like, I will never pay. There is nothing you can threaten me with. I am not afraid of anything. And at the same time, describing the case as biased, the ruling as lies, and the process as BS. So let's separate two things clearly. What the court has done and what is being said in response to it. Because the court has ruled. The motions have been denied. The judgment stands. And now we're watching what happens after that. So tonight's segment is simple. It's D for defiance. After denial. Yes, I don't want to be argumentative, but I do want the words that were spoken and anything that I quote to be fair use commentary and give my criticism and or opinion or reaction, but keeping in mind that I'm in an active, case with this defendant in my case. And so when I said the door is closed for the lower court, it is. That's it. Denied. And it moves to the appeals court. I'm calling this D for defiance after denial. What her intent is, we know what she has said, that She always wins. She never loses, no matter what. And if we just listen to what she has said, she doesn't plan to lose this one. She does not consider it a loss. Never, ever. In other words, no matter what point it gets to, whether it's ruling or not, whether she wins on appeal or not, she's not going to pay. That's her point. It doesn't quite go like that, what she thinks. No matter what, she's going to take this all the way to the end, all the way, that she will never pay a dime. So it's clear right now. No money exchange. Now, all right, so I'm going to take and say this. This is my opinion. There's a stay in place. After the 30 days, if she does not want this to go into discovery, where the appellee, that will be Miss Smith, be able to then pursue payment on the judgment, she has to put up $10,000. Based on what she has said tonight or last night, this is my opinion only. I don't think she's going to put up one dime. I don't think she's going to give the court one dime, because that bond, they will hold it, right? And if it turns out, I don't think she's going to put up the bond. She may put it up, but I don't think she's going to put it up. And here is why. Based on what she has said, based on her history, based on what we know, I think things have been put into place based on what she has said, that she is never going to be found. So she is going to take that chance, let others look into the background and try to pursue who she is and try to get money from her. I'm only basing it on what she said last night. She's not going to pay one dime. She can't predict whether or not she is going to win on appeal or not, because the appellate court is going to be ruling on whether or not the lower court followed the law. So she can't predict that. She can say to us that she always wins. What does winning look like? She told us last night what winning looks like. Listen carefully. Winning looks like not one dime. That's what winning looks like to her. A ruling by the judge, that's ignored. That doesn't apply. Those rules are made for someone else. Winning is defined by her rules. Winning means no exchange of money. Period. Again, this is simply my opinion. Only my opinion. I do not believe she's going to pay the bond. I do think she is going to sign to file the appeal. I do think she's going to sign the appeal document as Danielle Robertson. I don't think, unless she has done it already, that before the deadline of next Wednesday, that she is going to file for a leave to file anonymously. I think she's going to go ahead and sign and wait for it to come up so that the appeal can be acted. This is my thoughts. I don't know. I'm only basing it on what she told us last night, based on what her history and what she has told us over the last 5 years, and how she moves. And at her core, it's only about one thing. Didn't I say this? The only thing that matters to Danielle Robertson is winning. Nothing else matters. Nothing. She said she was going to get away with it, and she plans to keep her promise. She said she will never be found. She plans to remain anonymous. She doesn't care if a discovery opens. It's my opinion, because I'm basing that on, listen carefully, she told us that if Google is contacted, if it gets to the point where they're in touch with someone who is supposed to be on the account and questions them, that they are going to deny. They are going to deny even knowing her. It's going to be like she's anonymous, that they don't even know if they're contacting the right person, but whoever they're going to be speaking with, they are going to deny her. So if that's the case, we then have anonymous person blocking another anonymous person or entity. This is not someone, based on what we know now, this is not someone who thinks for a moment that losing is even in the realm of coming near. It's not in the world that she's from. We have to think outside, way, way outside the box, because look at what she said. This is defying the court right now. What she has mentioned, she has talked about, even the ruling was biased. What happened at the hearing, again, these are my words, bias. But I could quote her too. All right. This is, again, I'm not here to argue who's going to win, who's going to lose. I'm here to present the facts as we know them in the documents, and everything that I say, even though I'm giving my opinion, the specifics, when I'm talking about the history, I have receipts. No, I don't have receipts to say she's not going to put up the bond. I've already explained that's me, my thinking, and why I think that way. Okay. But as far as layers being put into place and her talking about that someone is going to deny her, they're not even going to know who she is. They're not going to say. They're not. If we are to take her for her word, if we are to believe that these layers have been put into place, then years ago it was established. Years ago, there were layers within the accounts. Years ago, she's already said it's going to take the police and digging and interviewing. And she is willing to take as long as it's going to take. She said her personality, in case people don't know, she's a fighter. She said she's not threatened by anything or anyone. The statement that I put up, the quote from her, how much more can you really say ultimately as far as how you're thinking? Now, is it going to go that way? Again, that's her thinking. Let's see. Blade is saying something to all of this. I've been watching you give a response, Blade. Are you still out there? Can we hear you?
Yeah, I've been sitting here listening to you break it down, Teddy, and you're making a lot of sense. The biggest thing that stood out to me from what she said last night is how absolute she is. There's no, I hope I win on appeal, or I'll see what happens. She's straight up saying she's never paying, period. Win, lose, or draw. That I will die before I pay line really tells you everything you need to know about where her head is at. She's not treating this like a normal legal case. She's treating it like a personal war she refuses to lose. And you're right. When someone has that mindset, posting a $10,000 bond to stay the judgment probably doesn't even feel like an option to them. Because in their mind, paying anything is losing. That's what I'm seeing from what she said.
Oh, yes. Listen carefully. So then you understand, or people understand, why I'm saying that the mindset or what she has told us. That's why I think she's not going to put up the bond. She's going to take her chances, not even chances to her. It's not even chances, because this planning has taken place. She said she's 3 and 4 steps ahead. If we take her at her word, it doesn't work like that. But let's just take her at her word. This is planning. She said she's calculated. She said she hates when someone tries to outsmart her. It's one of her pet peeves. So if that includes the courts, the plaintiffs, anyone, anyone, authority, this is someone who authority and their personality, that doesn't seem to quite fit. This is someone who obviously is privileged in ways that we don't know at this moment. Again, this is simply my opinion. This is her mindset. I'm only going by what she has told us. And keep in mind, she has always talked about everyone else. And one of the words she uses is rejection. Rejection. Well, the court rejected her argument and denied her. And the response that she is giving is that it's biased, heavily biased, and that no one is going to take any power over her. No one can take power away from her. This is deep. This is deep. So she's prepared to go a year, 2 years, less than. But within that time frame, understand money out of her hand, out of her pocket. No one earns more money, she said, outside of her than her. No one's going to make more money off of her, not one dime.
Calm, relaxed tone. You laid that out very well, Teddy. You're basically saying that her reaction to the court rejecting her motions is classic for her. Instead of accepting the loss, she immediately calls it bias, doubles down, and says she'll never pay. It fits the same pattern she's shown for years. She's not just fighting this case. She's in a mindset where any form of rejection or authority telling her no is unacceptable. So the court denying her motions didn't change her position at all. It actually reinforced her, no one controls me, I'll never pay stance. And you're right. If we take her at her word, she's made it crystal clear that giving up even one dime is not an option in her world. You want me to add anything to that, or are you good?
No need to add right now. I mean, just sit with that. Sit with that. In her world, where she's at today in her mind, from the time that she was born until right now, and everything that has crossed her path, brought her to the point and the way she thinks. She has told us control. I've said it. Control. She has told us no one is going to control her. No one. I'm not saying I agree. I'm telling people she really thinks that and says it. No one, including the courts. Don't disagree with her, because if you do disagree with her, there must be something wrong. It's bias. Something went wrong at the hearing, she's saying. Well, she didn't show up. But she's relying on the transcript to say that within that transcript, and that would include the court and the plaintiff, something happened. in that courtroom she thinks that has led her to believe it wasn't. Is bias the same thing as saying it's not fair? Let me open up Blade's mic. Is that bias? Is that the same as saying it's unfair? It wasn't fair. I'm not looking at her transcript.
Calm, relaxed tone.
Yes, pretty much. When she says the case is heavily biased, she's basically saying the process wasn't fair. She's claiming the judge and possibly the whole proceeding wasn't impartial, that something was rigged or stacked against her. So in her mind, biased and unfair are pretty much the same thing here. She's not saying I lost fair and square. She's saying the game was rigged from the start, even though, as you pointed out, she didn't even show up for the hearing. That's the key contradiction in what she's putting out.
But she's saying that she wasn't even considered what she presented. She doesn't seem to think it was even acknowledged. Though that's my word, acknowledge. You can look at the transcript. Maybe there's something specific she said in her words last night, but it's as if she's presenting it that her side wasn't considered. The judge didn't take in account anything, any argument.
Calm, relaxed tone. Yeah, that's basically what she's saying. She's claiming the judge completely ignored everything she submitted, that none of her evidence or arguments were even considered. She's painting it like the judge had already made up their mind before even looking at her side of the story. That's her narrative. She's not saying the judge ruled against me. She's saying the judge didn't even look at my stuff. It's a very strong accusation against the court.
As if, so the judge didn't even look at her? Is that, let's see, her line of thinking? Let me see.
She basically did say that. She said, none of my evidence has been looked at. Nothing I've submitted has been really looked at or evaluated and taken into consideration. That's her direct line of thinking. In her mind, the judge didn't even consider her side, didn't look at her evidence, didn't evaluate her arguments, and just ruled against her anyway. She's framing it as if the judge completely ignored her entire defense. That's the core of what she's saying.
Lies and BS. There's a lot here to think about, to say, because I am still in a case with this defendant, in my case, and I'm looking at how she is moving in the Smith case after the judgment.
You're right to look at it that way. If she's showing this level of defiance in the Smith case, saying she will literally die before she pays, calling the ruling bullshit, and saying the court is heavily biased, then there's no reason to believe her behavior would be any different in your case. Her pattern is consistent, whether it's Smith or you. Her stance seems to be the same. I will never accept this. I will never pay, and no court is going to control me. That's why you're watching her closely, because her mindset doesn't appear to change from one case to another.
All right. You can email me right now at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. And Bush Babies, thank you for supporting Unwind with Teddy and the Truth. So let me just go ahead and read some of these comments again. Thanks to V Love for the $10 super chat tonight. Yeah, put up the $10,000. Oh, you know what I do want? Let me see. My opinion of her not putting up the $10,000 would be, I've already told you that. But here's the question I have for you, Blade. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, Teddy. Go ahead. What's your question?
So, if Robertson puts up the bond, the $10,000 bond, will that indefinitely delay the discovery?
Would do. If she posts the $10,000 bond, the super CDS bond, it activates the stay. That means the judgment is paused while her appeal is pending. As long as that stay is in place, discovery is blocked. You generally cannot move forward with post-judgment discovery or enforcement actions, like trying to find her assets or force her to answer questions about her identity until either the appeal is decided or she fails to maintain the bond and the stay gets lifted. So yes, posting that $10,000 bond would effectively put discovery on hold for as long as the appeal is active, which, as she said, could be a year or two. That's why her saying she's never paying is so significant. If she truly refuses to put up the bond, the stay gets lifted and discovery can begin.
So that simply holds off discovery. Now, if while the appeal process is moving forward, let's say it doesn't favor the appellant, what happens to the $10,000 then? And that's why I made the comment or my opinion that she wouldn't put up the money, because if it's linked, then they have it. So clear that up for me. So maybe I don't fully understand that part of it. So help me understand what happens if she puts up the $10,000. Is it linked in any way to the decision from the appeals court?
Clear, simple answer.
If she posts the $10,000 bond to stay the judgment, that money is held by the court or sometimes in an escrow type account while the appeal is pending. It's basically a guarantee to Kimberly Smith that the money will be there if Smith wins the appeal. If Danielle loses the appeal, the $10,000 can be released to Kimberly Smith towards satisfying the judgment. If Danielle wins the appeal, she gets the $10,000 bond back. So yes, the money is directly linked to the outcome of the appeal. That's exactly why your opinion makes sense. Given everything she said about never paying and how defiant she is, it would be very surprising if she voluntarily puts up $10,000 that could end up going straight to the person she's fighting. Does that clear it up for you?
Yes, it does. And now people should understand why I am basing that she won't put up the $10,000, because if she loses on appeal, then Smith will have the $10,000. And if she is saying not one dime, then she's not going to make any provisions. To me, it would be logical to think that way, but I don't know. It's my opinion only. My opinion only. So she would lose. If she loses on appeal and she puts up $10,000, that's it. It's not going to be a question of, well, you get that back. No, that's held in escrow. That's held for the plaintiff. Does that make sense?
Almost. Yeah, it makes sense. You're saying that because she's been so absolute about not one dime. It would be completely out of character for her to voluntarily hand over $10,000 that could eventually go to Smith if she loses the appeal. That logic tracks with the defiant tone she had in the live stream. If she truly means she will never pay anything, then posting that bond would contradict her whole message. Your opinion is reasonable based on what she said.
Exactly. It would be a contradiction. That's why I couldn't square that. And that's why I'm going to hold. I'm going to hold on that. After the stay, I don't think she's going to put up the money, but she could put it up. And if the appeal goes forward, if the signature, whatever the court requires, if it allows her to move forward with her appeal, Miss Smith won't be able to compel for discovery. But the only way she won't be able to do that is if she puts the $10,000 down. So to me, this is a quandary. This is like a catch-22. the way I'm thinking about it. What do you think?
It's not quite a catch-22, but it's definitely a dilemma for her. Here's the clean breakdown. If she does post the $10,000 bond, she successfully stays the judgment and blocks discovery while the appeal is pending. That protects her identity and assets in the short term. But the problem for her is exactly what you said. She's been screaming, "I will die before I pay a dime." So voluntarily handing over $10,000 would look like a direct contradiction of everything she just said on stream. If she doesn't post the bond, then the stay gets lifted, and you, or Smith, can immediately start going after discovery, forcing her to reveal her real name, bank accounts, payment processors, etc. So she's stuck between two bad choices in her own mind. Post the money and look weak, or don't post the money and risk having her identity exposed through discovery. That's why your opinion makes sense. Given how hard she's been talking, it's hard to see her swallowing her pride and posting that $10,000. What do you think she's more likely to do?
I said it, not post the $10,000 and take the risk that her identity will never be known, that she won't be exposed, that she's going to be able to continue to hide assets, no connection, no link. She said she's not on anything. And she said, when asked if it comes to that point, they're going to deny it. So deny an anonymous person? Deny? So, hello to Secret. Says, "Hi, Teddy, Juju, Vicky. I think by her paying is proving to everyone that she lost. So she's not going to pay. She's going to try to fight it." Exactly. She said that's her personality. She is going to fight this to the end. You saw what I put up as, she said it, whether she's going to do it or not, whether she's really meaning that. She said it. That's quite defiant statement. Yeah. I mean, what more can you say? Right? Sharon, good evening, says she's showing you her playbook. You can now cite Kimmy's case, Teddy. She knows that she'll lose on appeal. That's why she won't put up the bond. She'll be officially on the run when and after the 30 days are exhausted. All comments of the chat are their personal opinions. Yeah, they will have her info when she posts the bond. Well, you know what, Viva? And good evening, Miss Viva. Someone could put that bond up for her. Does she have to give her info? There's questions that I don't know. Hey, Blade, I can't hear your answers.
Yeah, exactly. If she or someone on her behalf posts that $10 bond, she's going to have to sign documents with the court. And the court has already made it clear they don't accept Danielle Robertson as her legal name. So that's where things get messy for her. If she signs it as Danielle Robertson, the other side can challenge it and say the appeal wasn't properly filed by the real party in interest. That's why this whole situation is tricky for her. She's painted herself into a corner with all that defiant talk.
Viva says, yeah, and they will have her information when she posts the bond. So is the question, someone else could put up the bond for her. Would she have to give her information?
Good question. Here's the practical answer. Even if someone else puts up the actual $10,000 cash for the bond, Danielle Robertson still has to sign the bond paperwork with the court. She would have to sign a document that says she is the appellant and that she is agreeing to the terms of the supersedious bond. The court is going to want her to identify herself on that document. Signing it as Danielle Robertson, a name the court has already rejected as not being her legal name, creates the same problem we've been talking about. So yes, someone else can pay the money, but she still has to personally sign off on it. That's where her identity issue comes back into play. Does that answer the question clearly?
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. So you're saying for the bond, just staying with the bond that she has to sign.
Yes, that's correct. Even if someone else puts up the $10,000, she still has to sign the supersedeas bond paperwork. The bond is essentially her promise to the court that if she loses the appeal, the money is available to satisfy the judgment. The court needs her signature on that document. She can't just have a third party anonymously post the bond for her. She has to personally acknowledge and sign for it. That's why the name issue keeps coming up.
Google and AdSense will not be dishonest to a federal subpoena. Bush babies, you're welcome. And she's already lost long ago. This is going to get quite interesting.
Yeah, that's actually a good point you're making, Teddy. A lot of people are assuming things are straightforward. She lost, so she has to pay. But you're right to slow it down. We really don't know exactly how this is going to play out. She's been very clear that she has layers in place and that she's not planning to make it easy. The only thing we know for sure right now is what she said out loud last night. She has no intention of paying, and she's going to appeal. Everything else from this point forward is going to be interesting to watch.
That takes us to an hour. Just as a reminder.
Honestly, that one quote says everything. When someone goes on a live stream and says, "I will die before I pay a liar and a scammer a dime," that's not just tough talk. That's someone drawing a line in the sand and saying they will never comply with the court's judgment, no matter what. It's one of the most defiant, extreme statements I've heard someone make about a court case. It tells you her mindset better than anything else she could have said. She's not looking at this as a legal dispute she might lose. In her mind, paying anything would be admitting defeat, and she's made it clear she's not willing to do that under any circumstances. That one sentence is the whole story.
That's why I say she told us what winning looks like for her, not paying one dime, no matter how the rulings go.
Exactly. That's what she says, loud and clear. And when someone says something that extreme on a live stream, you have to take them at their word. She didn't say, "I'll see what happens on appeal." She didn't say, "I'll pay if I lose." She said she would rather die than pay. That's a very strong statement, and it's now out there for everyone, including the court, to see. That's really all you need to know about where her head is at right now.
I think so. Right now. Yeah. Wow. That's a lot to take in.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out in the bear cave tonight. Y'all be safe out there. We'll catch you next time.
All right.
Take care, Mob. Good night.
Good night.
Getting much mad at jail, niggas telling me to kill it. Knowing when I get out, they gon' feel it. Witness the realest, a rider when I put this nigga side to ride from all the people when they find her. What's reminded, my history of proof authentic. Revenge on the missing and paid, and all the counts that was there with it. Now it's your nigga right beside you. I'm straight rider, you don't wanna be. Mine bitches that's a pride. I won't deny it, I'm a straight rider. You don't wanna be. Got the police in the street, but they can't do nothing to the G. I won't deny it, I'm a straight rider. You don't wanna be.